Hey everyone, Travis here with Holly Park, and I wanted to take you along on a quick one-wheel ride through campus. So we're actually going to go out the back end of the property, so that way you can kind of see how to get to the science mall pretty quickly and just kind of have an excuse to sit down and talk with you, kind of get an idea of who I am. So yeah, so this is Holly Park. It's 191 apartment complex here, over 11 acres, 8 buildings. So yeah, I've been working here for 4 years, and this year I decided to pick up and treat myself to a one wheel. So what this device is essentially a electric skateboard that uses one wheel. They're very clever with what they call the device. So here's a quick look at it. So yeah, it's a giant go-kart tire. So it's kind of fun to shred through Kent's campus and downtown Kent and on the trails. At the point when I shot this video, I was maybe 100 miles into the device. Now I'm getting pretty close to 300 miles. So needless to say, I really do enjoy using the one wheel to get around and just kind of explore and get away from stress throughout the day. So this right here is a little easement called Holly Drive. And what it is essentially a quick way to get to Horning Road, which is in the back end of the property. And we're actually working on clearing out all the brush that you see to the right-hand side, so that way our parking lights can reach over here. We installed solar lights too, which really helped while they were still up, but they got snagged, which happens. We'll get them replaced here soon and actually more secure. Okay, low bridge. Everybody down. So here we are. This is Horning Road, and you see that deer off to the right there? How cool is that? You can hear its hooves clicking across the concrete. That's so cool. Yeah, you'll see a bunch of that stuff too around Kent, especially during the summer when everybody's gone and it's really quiet. And you barely have to look both ways to cross the street. I mean, I obviously still do, which you should too. So here we are driving by University Oaks, another complex. Good group of people there. Obviously Holly Park's better. I mean, I may be biased though. But they do have some of the nicest sidewalk to just float on by. And these pine trees are kind of fun too. So here we go. We're coming up to an intersection here. We're gonna look both ways. We're gonna be safe. And yes, I do have a helmet on. I also wear wrist guards. That's how I feel comfortable using this device. So it has a top speed of 15 miles an hour, which is just insanely fast, which you'd never want to go that fast for a prolonged amount of time on a device like that. There's literally nothing between you and the concrete. So I try to cruise around, 8 to 12 miles an hour. I always bump into the same people one-wheeling, so it's like you can see some people's schedules. So there's I'm assuming a man and a wife coming up here. I pass them every day, and it doesn't help that I go out the same time every evening, 6, 7 o'clock after dinner's done, and I kind of get to unwind from work. I love the sound of going over this sidewalk. So now we're gonna crush this hill here. So this is, for those of you familiar, this is the back end of Tri-Towers. I mean, is there really a back end of Tri-Towers? Honestly, I mean, it's a funny little building with a rotunda in the center. And you'll see some of Kent's famous black squirrels off in the woods. My dog absolutely loves to try and chase the black squirrels all over Kent, and they're everywhere, just literally everywhere. For those of you who haven't seen Cool yet, he's a 70-pound blue-nosed pit bull that I actually got from one of our that was a tenant there. They've been here for 2 years now. They're pretty cool. I like them a lot. Anyway, Cool is a 70-pound blue-nosed pit bull that I got from a coworker, and So he's been our little buddy. Got him when he was 8 months old. Fortunately, Ronnie, the coworker I got him from, got him potty trained, so I didn't have to deal with that. But yeah, no, Cole's been a great little buddy to get through some pretty tough times. So here we're getting pretty close to the ice arena. This is shot on an Insta360, which of course you just have to take every opportunity you can to shoot in 360 because it is so fun to edit in. I have another cut of this video right now. It's kind of boring to watch, but I threw in a barrel roll, and Isaac, our social media director, he absolutely hated it. So he was like, "Hey, you need to slow down on all these transitions and such." And so I was like, "Okay, we'll do a simple 2D version." So now I turned onto where the health center is located. I didn't go to school at Kent State, so I honestly don't know what these two buildings are. I know they're the residence halls. I don't know their names, so you'll have to forgive me for that. I actually went to a small school in Pennsylvania named California University of PA, and when I first got into college, I was like, oh man, I want to be a teacher. That is the number one thing I want to be in. So spent 3 years in teacher ed, and it was a blast. Like, did my field experience, had a great time with it. But with how teaching is so politicized and bureaucratic, I was like, I don't know if I can actually do teaching with how strict laws are and how everything has to be taught, and it was just insane. So I was like, I'm going to save myself some stress, and I went for a bachelor's degree in language and literacy. And you know, honestly, it sounds like a giant risk, and it is, but I feel like I use my degree every day, and I haven't looked back since. It'd be nice to go back to school one day, pick up a business degree, but that's down the road. So here's some summer work that's going on. Kent State is always working on something on the summer. I'm not sure what they were working on here. Now we're getting close to the Reisman Plaza. Bump, bump. A couple good bumps there. Stop signs are optional if you're on the sidewalk, right? So here we go. Trying to not run over any little puppers there. I just love the distortion with 360 cameras as you're riding through a 2D plane, and you flatten it all out, and how the distortion just makes everything look so wild and crazy. I just love going through Reisman Plaza. It's just so zen. Like, you just go and cruise right through it. There's always somebody there that you know. Although in the summer it's a little difficult to get a hold of anybody, just because everybody goes home or everyone's so spread out. And this year was especially hard with coronavirus, which, man, that really took the wind out of 2020 sales. But hey, you know, there's always the second half of the year, and well, right now it's August when I'm recording this voiceover. So we don't have much time to get that win back, but hey, at least school's starting up, and you know, things always get better. So here's the Science Mall. I love what they did with this facade. I love how much glass there is. You can see out and in and everything. Boom, boom, right over those access panels. And whoever designed that math building, honestly, like, look at that. It's like 6 buildings that they just kind of stuck together. I get it, but ugh. Okay, now we're past it. We can all take a collective breath. I love the aeronautics building. Super cool. And we're only 10 minutes in, so my max speed here is it's probably cruising really slow just because of those access panels. I didn't want to crash on video for something I was going to make for tenants / the internet. I mean, I gotta look like a pro, gotta look cool, gotta slide right through. Whenever I first was using my board, I was going through downtown Kent and I was cruising in front of Stakey's. For any townies who know where that is, it's right by Water Street. And there's this big bump in the sidewalk that I was just like cruising. I was looking all cool. And I was like, I'm gonna get right over this bump, no problem. Didn't even look down to see how big the crack was, and it was humongous. And of course, I completely fall backwards and just have to get up looking all cool, but that really hurt. And I was just like, oh my God. I think my pride was hurt more than anything, so I had to take a few steps before I even got back on the board. I hope someone got a good laugh out of that because it was pretty darn funny to watch. So here we go again. We're gonna go down this little grove here. If you're looking for a good place to read a book, this is a spot. The Adirondack chairs that are off to the left here are just so perfect. Just bring some bug spray. And these sculptures are so bizarre. And here we go. Getting some zoomies on. Good bump there. So here we go. We're going back towards Reisman Plaza from behind the library. Boy, this video is very shaky, isn't it? It's like the asphalt is an ocean and we're just on a boat cruising. Okay, now when I was going over this, I was so afraid. I was like, oh my God. So there's some deep parts of the gravel and the tire is so sticky because it's a racing slick, it spins out occasionally. So like right about here is where I usually spin out and fall, but this time pushed right through, got it, and back onto some stable ground here. And now we're gonna go zooming again. We're gonna say hi to Earl. Is that Earl? Yeah, I guess that's Earl. Whatever you want to call that squirrel. There's these random squirrel sculptures all over Kent. You have to really watch out for them. There's one there, one in the Student Center. Down in downtown Kent, there's one in the Visitor Center. And then Acorn Alley has this big metal squirrel. And if you ever get a chance, like, to go down to downtown Kent, I know a lot of you guys are fresh to Kent. Downtown Kent is incredible. There's so much to do in downtown Kent. Like, you have trails that go on for miles. So, like, I remember the first summer I was here 4 years ago, I got a bike and I was like, I want to see how far these trails go. I want to see how far they take me. And so got on my bike and got all the way up to Cleveland. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, I could go so far. And like, that took me all day. And so I'm like, okay, I don't really have time to sit down and stop and really enjoy this. I got to get back. And so that trip was just so poorly planned. Okay, listen. So like, I had a camel pack at the time and I was like, I'm going to clean it out the night before. Don't ever clean a camel pack out with mouthwash. It is the worst advice I've ever gotten on the internet. I don't know where I even got it, but I was like, oh, this will be great, clean it out. No, absolutely not. Worst decision ever. So the water that I carried with me, even though it was cold the entire time, tasted like mouthwash. And that is not something that you want to taste while you're biking, you know, all the way from Kent to Cleveland. And so that was the first, like, okay, that's pretty terrible. And so I also didn't know the best way to get through the Cuyahoga National Forest, which is where the trail kind of stops. And if you don't know to go around the waterfall where the trail continues, you're going through mountains, like literal mountains, where you shouldn't be biking. But I was like, okay, I don't have the time to stop and find the actual trail. So I'm there biking through rocks and sticks and everything. But I do finally get through the national park, and I mapped it out using Google Maps. And I get back on the canal path and get on my way up to Cleveland, and that was smooth sailing. So I was like, okay, that was a little rough patch there with the water and then getting through the national forest. And then I'm like, okay, time to turn around. That's me getting off the board to get some blood back in my feet. If you ever Onewheel, you'll know what foot fatigue is. But yeah, anyhow, so turning around and I get lost. So there's a fork in the road on the bike trail. You can either turn left and the sign says Monroe Falls, or you turn right and it says Kent. And I'm like, oh, and I'm so tired, I'm not even thinking to go back the way that I came. I'm like, this is surely a shortcut. So I take the right-hand trail and it takes me to Monroe Falls, and I am just completely lost, completely tired, and that was, sorry for the ringtone, completely lost, completely out of water. And so I'm just like frantic. And so I get on my phone, I find the nearest sheets, collect myself, take a little break, and get back on the trail just by retracing my steps. It was insane, but it was totally worth it. Did it again the following year, and actually ended up staying in a hotel, which was a really good decision. And then just kind of explored Cleveland the next day, and then made my way back home on bike, of course, because it's not a round trip if you don't bike back. So here we are right on, is this Hilltop Drive? Yeah. So I'm just kind of cruising through here, exploring. So silly me, I thought, oh, this is a good way to go. There's a ramp down there, and just kind of like getting some really nice shots of the front end of campus. And little did I know that there are steps at the bottom of this. And yeah, so you really can't go down that. And I was too new to go down the grassy hill there, so that was a tight turn, and just go back and make my way down the hill. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a car alarm going off. It's kind of frustrating. But welcome to housing college students. So here we go again. Okay, we're back on the right track. Yeah, see how I turned a little too, I turned right too soon. Yeah. So I absolutely love historic campus. Large buildings. Oh my goodness. God, my ringtones, listen, they're the most obnoxious ringtones you'll ever find in all of, yes, I know, Android history. So that was the Solid Snake. For any 90s kids out there, you'll appreciate that. And then a chicken clucking. Like, come on, Travis, really, man? So here we go. See those little Adirondack chairs? They're the most comfortable things all across campus. I can neither confirm nor deny that we got our Adirondack chair from some tenants who borrowed one from Kent State's campus. So that'll be a secret between you and I. Okay, don't tell Kent State. So here's, I think that's Whitehall, right? Where all the human services are. Someone chilling out and vibing on a bench. What's up, dude? and we're getting pretty close to sunset, so you get some really nice classic sunset Kent footage here soon. Just absolutely stunning. If you ever have a chance to experience Kent in the summer, it's really worthwhile, especially if you're someone who enjoys the outdoors and enjoys just walking on trails and exploring, getting to know yourself. There's also just a ton of festivals, so like Kent's Heritage Festival, that's a pretty good one to experience if you ever have the time or the chance to. So here we go. Boom, boom. So this is kind of fun to one wheel over. So I've always wondered how skateboarders get over these kind of things. I'm sure they have no problem, and for sure longboarders don't. I always feel weird on my one wheel going by skateboarders. I'm like, oh God, are they judging me? Probably, definitely are. Like, oh, ew, one wheel. Hey, don't knock it till you try it. Now, the one wheel is the first sport, quote unquote, sport that I got into. I've never snowboarded or skateboarded or any of that stuff. Grew up in rural Pennsylvania where concrete was really far and few between where you could actually do that kind of stuff. And in college, there's just so much going on where you just didn't have the time to do that. So yeah, going just really expanding yourself, trying new things. This is also the year that I some would say had a crisis and dyed my hair. So some of you might have seen the leasing video where we go over the lease agreement, and my hair is teal. That was on the tail end of it. Now I currently have it bleached like platinum blonde. I don't know what I'll do after this. I'll probably just go back to natural hair color, but it was just kind of fun to experiment. And while there's, the pandemic, what better time to do it than that, where nobody sees you. So here's the new architecture building, and this is actually, we're coming up on the end of the video. So thanks for hanging out. See ya.